Monday, February 23rd, 2026, 10:21 a.m. And I'm not going to be long with this one because I'm not going to be long and get into a whole back and forth nonsensical thing. And I titled this one, The FDA or Black Americans versus the Diaspora. And I just want to be real quick with this. Who wins in this? Who wins in this? And it's nothing but a propaganda tool and a work and a mind screw that both sides are falling for. Because while they keep us divided and while they keep Black Americans, while they keep us here in America focused on just America, and we thinking that we can, everything we need here as Black people is right here in America. And we're not paying attention. We're not paying attention to how they're building concentration camps. We're not paying attention to how they're stripping things away constantly. And you know what's the most bothersome thing? That I see more foundational Black Americans that'll find more good things to say about Donald Trump in this presidency than they own people that look like them. When he brought those white South Africans that he said was being mistreated so bad, and they were being unalived, and they were being treated so terribly. You think he brought them over calling them immigrants? Have you seen ICE target them? And what's funny is everything is playing out right in front of our faces, but those with vision see. Those that just have eyes don't see nothing but what's in front of those eyes. Because they got you playing this game that something is yours. And y'all say that same thing. We've been here. Absolutely. We built this country. And you always talk about this country from a level of servitude. You always talk about this country from a level of servitude. Let me say that again. Yo. And we don't understand that when real WAR is on, you need international allies. This is how you don't even understand. You know, the most misused phrase is this is checkers, chess, not checkers. This is chess, not checkers. And you don't even understand how to move. Because they got you moving so emotional. They got you moving so emotional of how you feel. You quick to say, I've seen for umpteen years, Africans don't even like us. And you say it so confidently. Africans don't even like us. Africans don't even like, and you repeat this mantra. And you can't even see who don't like you right in front of your face. Okay, so like I said in my short, and when I say it's always a thing of begging and servitude, all last year or all this football season, most of the football season was spent begging and crying about the mistreatment of Shador. When we've seen them go out their way to remove end racism out of the end zone. Now it's just a meaningless word. It's just a meaningless slogan that don't mean nothing. But they show you that they don't even want to see that because they don't want to. They don't want to even entertain removing it because that's the fabric of America. You can be Black in this place all you want, but the fabric of America is what it is. That's why they got so upset when Coco Jones sang "Lift Every Voice and Sing." They said one country, one anthem. God damn it! And you don't get it. You don't get it, but that this tool of division don't serve nobody but them. Because all we know how to do, all we are programmed, and really all we are allowed to do is beef with each other. That's why you ain't gonna never see 50 Cent beef with nobody else. You're never gonna see 50 Cent beef with Robert Greene the way he beef with T.I., the way he beef with Ja Rule, the way he beef with Naturi Naughton. You'll never see him disrespect Robert Greene or any other white boy or white girl that he worked with in the way that he do it, because that's what we have to do. That is the program. That is the Willie Lynch chip. You can argue all day the authenticity of the Willie Lynch. You can argue with me all day about the authenticity. Is the Willie Lynch letter real? Is it not? It doesn't have to be real. The psychological effects of it are real. The psychological effect of it is real. That's always putting us against us. The light skin versus the dark skin, the tall versus the short, the fat versus the skinny. Now it's the FBA versus this over here. And how programmed they are. Here's the thing, because I don't be tripping. If I pass by somebody live or a post and they got an FBA flag, I don't stop and go straight in their room with intent to disrespect and tell them how stupid whatever they got going on is. But you don't even understand the westernization of you. That is straight up just whiteology. The tone that you speak, you so conditioned. I find them telling them to go back to their country. When I was just talking about that young brother that was just found lynched in Georgia, Kyle Bassinger, they told me if I don't like it, they came on this live and told me that if I don't like it, go back to my country. If I don't like it, or if I have to speak as a black man, if I have to speak about the lynching of a young black college kid, and you picking up them same talking points and repeating it. You picking up them same talking points and saying, go back, these immigrants are getting on my nerve. These immigrants. And again, like I said, because every time you're talking about this country, you're always talking about it in a form of servitude and working and labor. They need to get rid of those. Let me give you another example. They need to get rid of these immigrants. They taking up all the black jobs. Because you care about nothing, because they have programmed and conditioned you to see yourself as just laborers. While Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, all of them continue to get rich off of this. You talking about a diaspora war where we got them under imperialism right now. So be careful what you ask for, because they just might lock down the country and say it's yours. You can have it. You ain't got to worry about getting out. You ain't got to worry about over there. You don't even like them people over there. And it disgusts me. It disgusts me to see so many black males that will follow Trump. It disgusts me to see so many black people that will put that red hat on and neuter themselves or spay themselves. But this ain't nothing but a work, and we can't see it. And I'm just one person. Because this live and this post ain't gonna probably be met with nothing but disrespect. Because the first thing, they'll come into my live and say something about my flag. But they're not trained to go to that white boy page and talk about that Confederate flag that he got hanging back there. Because they say that's theirs too. They're not trained to go over there because you ain't nothing but a Pavlovian dog. You're not trained to go over there and really see the real enemy. So they have to manufacture one and create one. All of this is still a distraction from what's going on in your house. You ain't got time to worry about beefing with them over there. We catching hell right here. We catching hell right here. And we don't see it. We don't see the repetitive cycle. We don't see the repetitive cycle. I got to say it again. We don't see the repetitive cycle We don't see the repetitive cycle of black men sending these broken messages of not taking care of women and children. We don't see the repetitive cycle of black women talking about not doing anything. We only being taught to hate each other, and we don't even see it. I could give you several books, but you ain't gonna do nothing but argue with me. You ain't gonna do nothing but debate with me, because that's the only thing the Willie Lynch chip will design for you to do is to debate. You can see overwhelming amount of evidence and do nothing to save yourself or your children, because you would rather argue. Africans don't even like us. Africans don't even like you. And then you'll go shop with the Chinese. You'll go shop with the Koreans, the Asians. They ain't liked you since they blew the young sister Latasha Harlan's head off. Oh, but you forget that, because it's by design. It's by design for you to forget the Ma'afa, or what you would call the African slave trade. It's by design for you to forget that. But you ain't gonna never go over there to them small hats and disrespect what they got going on and tell them to forget theirs. You don't get it. And the scary part is time is running out and you still don't get it. Hey, I see you. They don't though. They don't see it. They should see it. But you know why they don't see it? Because it's ingrained in them. And what I mean by that, the sexism, the misogyny, the racism, all the isms is ingrained in them. So when I say misogyny, the way Trump see his behavior toward females, it's ingrained in most males in America that's groomed in America. They still talking about free R. Kelly. They're still making excuses for Corey Holcomb. And that's because they're westernized. That's because they're Americanized. I'm going to use that word. Yeah, I live in America, but I'm not Americanized. Because when you're Americanized, you tell people to go back to their country. You call people stinking foreigners. You hate the woman that you came from. You hate the male that you came from. Because it's by design. And you don't even get it. And guess what? In true white supremacist fashion, I like that comment. And in true white supremacist fashion, this is what they do. In true narcissistic fashion, because America is narcissism, they train you to say you did it to yourself. We can sit here and you can be a trained puppet like Anton Daniels, who I don't even think always believe the stuff he say. But a 304 gonna do what he got to do for some paper. A 304 say whatever they got to say to get some paper. And notice with those talking heads, they can always say the most derogatory stuff. Like if you want to give me a Jason Whitlock, they can always say the most derogatory stuff because the raccoon always labels black people. Black people are lazy. Black people are stupid. It's always about a labeling because that's how self-hate works. Self-hate works by making you hate everything that look like you and every skin that look like this. While saying white people, no, I'm gonna get me a white zaddy. I hate when females say that. I'm gonna get me a white zaddy. And they busy doing things to sisters like Sade Robinson. But you ain't trained to understand that. You know why? Because you accept the image of white Jesus. So when you accept that image of God, your Savior, the person that died for your sins, for the person that died for you to be here, don't tell me it don't affect you because you accept the image. You don't push back on that image. You don't push back on the white image the way you push back on Africa. And you so crazy, you'll say black Jesus. And whenever you take something out of one pocket, it's just like saying black Twitter. So that means you're bringing it out of one form or the quote unquote original package and putting it into your own. I didn't say FBA is bad. See, this is what you have to do, folks. When you come into ask me a question, don't come in and make a statement. I said the war that's going on. If you want to call yourself a foundational black American, I have no problem with that. But we don't have to shit on others to do so. See, that's the thing. That's the programming. That you automatically come in and you feel this rage. Which one is it? Law 27 or Law 26? Create a cult-like following. Create a us versus them. And that's all it is. No, I'm not saying FBA is bad, but I don't subscribe to it. What you mean there is no rage? No, I saw it before you retracted your statement. What you mean there is no rage? What you mean? There's always rage when somebody comes straight into my room that considers themselves FBA and they come straight into my room to disrespect me. What do you call that? Oh, you took the question mark off. It was a statement. Because see, are you a black male or are you a black female? I'm talking to the other one. I'm not talking to nobody that want to come in. Okay, you a black male. Do you consider yourself okay? Do you consider yourself FBA? I'm talking to the one that's coming in here talking to me with some sense. Do you consider yourself? Okay, you say yes, sir. Okay, so now I don't want to know where want to know where you live or where you come from. You don't have to put that information out. But let me say this to you: if me as a black man under this flag saw you as an FBA brother in trouble, I would come to your aid because I see me in trouble. This is how I think we have to retool our minds because they're controlling our thoughts. If I saw you in trouble, whether it's against black, white, or whoever, I would stop to check on you. I would stop to make sure you're okay because I see a reflection of me. I'm not gonna stop and ask you your status. I'm not ICE. I'm not gonna stop and ask you, are you FBA or are you African nationalist? I'm not gonna stop and ask you for your papers because I see myself. Make sense? So you might not think like that, my friend. Okay, what about it? What about the last 100 years of doing labor for white America? What about the last 60 plus years? You don't solve problems by continuing to point fingers and saying, well, we did this for y'all. Well, you did this. You solve problems by sitting down, talking to that male or that female, that man or that woman with respect. And if you get up and you leave that table with understanding, then you get up and you leave that table with understanding. It's mighty funny how correct you can act when you go to get this job from white America. It's mighty funny how correct you can act then. It was just a young black male. Let me see what you say. Okay, let me ask you that question. You say, I want my reparations. What would that look like for you? How do you know they don't? You know what? You know what? I can't see your name. You said you can't because they don't respect us. You know why they don't respect us? Because we don't respect them. We don't respect them because they don't respect us. They don't respect us because we don't respect them. It's not one-sided, and that's what I want y'all to understand. Do white Americans respect y'all? Do they respect us? What you mean that's a lie? What you mean that's a lie when I'm an 80s and 90s person, right? I can remember going to school and they were picking on the African children. The term "you're African booty scratch." Look at how the Wayans would depict Africans in movies. Look at how Africa has always been depicted in American movies. So there's always been a disrespect over here. One thing you gotta be genuine when you come in this room, kinfolk. Hold on, your comments are coming in. That is common, brotherhood, love that neighbor. What am I lying about? I'm pointing fingers to white Americans. What does that mean? So you gotta talk to me in real. What? First of all, tell me what I'm lying about, and you say I'm pointing fingers to white Americans. Who else am I gonna point the fingers in? Why wouldn't I point the fingers at Peter Thiel? Why wouldn't I point the fingers at Elon Musk? Why wouldn't I point the fingers at the billionaires that control everything that you got going on? Why wouldn't I? Why would I not point the fingers at them, your direct enemy that's in your house, and you're talking about over there? Why wouldn't I point the finger? Do you believe? Do you? Okay, let me answer this question. Do you believe if an American black nation was created, would it be a positive or negative impact on a global stage? I think it would be a negative impact. And here's why. Because the psyche is whitewashed. All the behaviors, whether people want to believe it or not, all the behaviors, how we see our women, how the women see their men, how we view our children are from a degenerate, low level disrespect. So we can create these things, but it is our psyche, it is our level of consciousness that's really going to bring us to liberation. I don't care what you call yourself, just don't be disrespectful. Okay, let me read the comments. Comments coming in. $1 million from white tax dollars. Okay, so are you answering the question when I said what does reparation look like? Okay, they are in everyone's house. And that should be the problem. Okay, you just said they're in everybody's house. That means white supremacy is what, my friend? Global. They in everybody's business. They're controlling everything because it's zero sum when you're dealing with them, my man. But you okay with that. Because guess what it do? It gets you to, the first thing they get you to do is adjust to that behavior. Just like when they did the C-19 lockdown, we adjusted to it. They told you it was 6 feet. No real science to that. They told you 6 feet. And motherfuckers went out and bought tissue, put on all these masks. Because if they put it out and they put it out enough, you believe it. It's it's okay. Okay? You gotta talk to me, my man. We understand that more than the African. What you mean? Talk to me, man. Talk to me clearly because you making messages and I can't understand. You say okay. You say it's based off of environment and we can reform the environment. How? How? How can we reform the environment? I wish I could, man. I really, I'm gonna figure out how to do that because I don't. I think we solve these problems, especially as black men. We solve these problems through conversations. Okay, you said reform the environment, right? So I'm gonna give you something to tell me would that be helpful or harmful? Would reforming the environment reform how Black American male and female relationships, how we deal with our women and how our women deal with us? Is that a form of reforming? Can you do a front flip for the line? Man, thanks, man. Your channel is very good. Thank you for that, man. There's another sister in here that been rocking with me for a while. Thanks, man. Thanks sincerely. I don't even pay them no attention, man. We're gonna keep going with our conversation because they here. You know, that's why they here. You see what I'm saying? You see, when we have black conversations and we trying to get things solved, that's what happens. The degenerate energy comes in to mess it up. We ain't worried about that. We're gonna keep flowing with what we talking about. Now go back to talk to me about this reforming. How would reform look like to you? I say, okay, let me see what my fan right here. StreamYard is always a stream. Okay, StreamYard. So somebody said FBA is a lineage. Most diaspora is an ideology. Why the pushback? Who said it was pushback? You see what I'm saying? Do you see how you enter the room? I said this is a tool of war. So your FBA lineage has been disrupted by white America. So if your lineage, because y'all love to say things like our babies were fed to alligators, right along. We're talking about what happened here. We're not gonna talk about what happened on the continent. Because if we talk about where we were brought from, it's gonna turn to something that it don't need to be. I got a book right here. I got a book right here. 100. Where do you think this took place? This is FBA lineage. This is FBA lineage, my friend. This is FBA lineage. You see what that say? You ain't upset about that? So you mean to tell me you're more upset with the diaspora than this right here? Your lineage was interrupted. Our lineage was interrupted in America. I understand how I'm connected. I don't just have this flag because it is an ideology. I'm not going to hold you, but I understand it. Because you know why? I understand how my lineage connect to that. So it can be ideology. All of it is theory. All of it is ideology in some ways. Agree? Is that fair to say? Because, like I said in the beginning of the live, most times I'm hearing Black Americans or FBA. It's always in a servitude manner. It's always in a manner of what you built. It's always in a manner, but we have to look at it. Let's go back. This is Black History Month. Why we still got it? Jackie Robinson persevered despite. But let's talk about how he was treated. He said one of the most racist cities he was in, treated, and one of the worst cities he was treated in was Philadelphia. So we got to talk about how the black man's psyche has been broken in America. We can't just talk about the cotton candy and James Brown and and Michael Jordan, that's cool. That's cool. That's beautiful. But who's still the commissioner? Okay, what my man say? Because they are close in proximity and are willing to be used by white supremacy to our difference. Now, who are you talking about, my man? Okay, when you say that, you mean when you say they're used, they are willing to be used, and we. Okay, so when you say you've been on their neck from the beginning, how? Because I will say this, and not you, but when I'm saying Black Americans, we're talking about us collectively. I'm in that pot too, right? No matter what my ideology or belief, I am looked at as a Black American, right? I'm not delusional about that. But when we look at Black Americans as a whole, we got more Black Americans that support Trump. So if we got our foot on their neck, how are Black men or Black males misguided to support Donald Trump? Does that make sense? And I think we have to understand this from a conscious perspective, right? That's not what I said. I never said that. Absolutely. I fight it. From the energy you giving me, you push back. But when I say Black Americans, I mean globally. I mean collective. Okay, let me give you an example. When they say Black men don't take care of children, right? Listen to what I'm saying. When they say Black men don't take care of children, right? Black men are deadbeat dads. That is the stigma that they want us to believe, right? Because most of us grew up with, for a good percentage of us, grew up without our dads. But you do have those ones. I'm an active father. I've created generations. When I go pick up my baby, I see Black men out there picking up their children. But it's not enough because also we have an agenda war where we got Black males, Black American males, talking about single mothers as if the single Black women are the worst thing in the world. You get what I'm saying? Tell me if I'm making sense to you or you want me to hit with more clarity. What you mean that okay, you said that number is so small compared to the group as a whole. You think so? And here's why I would push back on that, my man. Because when we look at most of the males and females that's in charge, right? Or let's say wealthy. I brought up 50 Cent. Who does 50 Cent beef with more? I said now we have to look at this collectively. You seem like a legitimate brother. So you would be in the pot that's on my side. I would say, in my opinion, I would say the number of clear-minded Black men are small. Okay, but look, okay, let me go back to my man that right here that say, you're a Black male, right? Me, I can't see what they're saying. I'm not disrespecting your name, but me, sovereign, I can't see what the other one say. So I'm not disrespecting your name if I don't read it the correct way. FBA is epigenetic. FBA epigenetics is the main focus. We started a ethnicity on this continent, and it needs to be recognized. Who you want to recognize it? See, what this conversation now having is who you want to recognize it. Like I just said in my short, my friend. Okay, let's say America is your bike, and you're red on Friday. Debo got your bike. Debo is white supremacy. Now he took your bike, he took your chain. How are you gonna get it back? Arguing with the continent is not gonna get your bike back in your house. You get what I'm saying? So when you saying it needs to be recognized, who do you want to recognize it? Because sometimes we can have displaced anger, or we can be passive aggressive, and we can be talking about something or talking to somebody else, and who you talking to, that ain't even who you got the problem with. I really would. I think we do, man. And I really would. I'm gonna look into what y'all say about that call, because I would like to get sessions like this going. Because I'm open to things. What I'm not open to is childishness and name calling. Hey, look, I don't have all the answers. And I think we have to start, especially as black males, because we gotta understand that they scared of us. We gotta understand that they are afraid of us. And so when we go back and we look, okay, let me read y'all something. Let me see if I can find it. And if I squint, leave me alone. I need glasses. Okay. 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 I think I read this on another live when we was talking about that young brother that was lynched. I'm gonna read y'all this. Now this is FBA. This is FBA lineage. This is Black American history. It's dark side of the history, or it's a white side, because I don't like to use dark in a negative tone, right? So even in my opinion, when we say blackballed, when we use, and that was Mother Frances Cress Welsing, when we use black in negative terms, we in my opinion, we reinforcing self-hate. Does that make sense? So listen to this. Birmingham Voice of the People, April 1st, 1916. Bumps into girl is lynched. Cedar Bluff, Mississippi, March 31st. Jeff Brown was lynched by a mob here late Saturday afternoon. Brown was walking down the street near the car tracks and saw a moving freight going in the direction in which he wanted to go. He started on the run to board the moving train. On the sidewalk was the daughter of a white farmer. Brown accidentally brushed against her, and she screamed. Ain't nothing worse than a white bitch screaming. A gang quickly turned and ran after him, jerking him off the moving train. He was beaten into insensibility and then hung from a tree. That's why I said with our good young brother that was just found hanged, black men don't hang ourselves. And we need to understand that. And for every black man that's on code with some sense, I think we need to say, yo, if I'm ever found, I didn't hang myself. Because that's how they're able to open and close our cases. Oh, no foul play. I'm gonna finish reading, but no foul play. He hung himself. He was going through depression. Even if I'm going through depression, I would never go to a park and hang myself. Right? Okay. Okay. A gang was quickly formed and ran after him, jerking him off the moving train. He was beaten insensibly and then hung from a tree. The sheriff made no attempt to find out who the members of the mob were. Now, that's the real sick part. We talking about this. We need to focus on their psyche. Picture cards of the body are being sold on the street at 5 cents a piece. So I got another one. Let me know if you want me to read another one. So when I don't just think of negativity when I think of being a black man in America. I think of the whole. I think of balance. I think of Michael Jordan, but I think of Rodney King. I think of Michael Jordan, but I think of them conditioning us to kill each other for them starter coats and them Jordans. See, I came from that generation, and when they tell us, when we listening to people like Nick Fuentes, right? Let me read the comments because you guys might have been commenting. Rise and shine. You need glasses too. You know, look, man, I need glasses, and they be coming here fucking with me. You can't read, you can't see. I need glasses, fool. Okay, so you say tethering is taking resources, and FBA, I don't know that erasure is happening because of it. Okay, when you say they're taking resources, what resources are they taking? When you say the tethering is taking resources, because remember what I'm saying now. Everything we talk about in position to be Black American is always how we can work for this country and how somebody else need to be moved out of the way, and we could be giving Mr. Charlie. Mr. Charlie can be giving us them opportunities. But now let me ask you this: now, if your gripe is with quote unquote immigrants, now let me ask you a question: if you're still in the room, is your gripe with immigration or immigrants, or is your gripe with Black quote unquote immigrants? Because are you not worried about the white South Africans that's coming in taking up resources? I'm talking to my folks. And notice and notice what the degenerate is doing in my comments. This is what we have to focus on. This is why I say we have to get our energy together as Black men and Black women, have calm conversations, and not come in and just say matter of fact whitewash stuff like that, like that cave dweller right there. The knuckle dragger comes in and just make assumptions because that's all his degenerate bloodline can make him think. So we don't really talk to degenerate mudfuckers. Elon Musk was born and raised in South Africa. That's like me being born in China, but I still would be classified as a Black man. You don't see him riding for South Africa. You see him looting and destroying it, right? You see him. You see him when he agreed with that post on Twitter, and the white boy was talking about the whole Great Replacement theory, right? Because that's their thing. They know that their bloodline is shit. They know that their bloodline is dog shit. And so I'm paraphrasing. And I wish I could find the post, and it says something to like white genetic unity or white genetic survival is in trouble. So white unity is the only way to survive. Elon Musk like that. He didn't say South African because he knows where he came from, but he knows that he's a white supremacist. Okay, my man said, "Get back on." That's right. That's right. Well, I like this conversation. I like this conversation, and I think strongly that is how we start to gain some sense of clarity, right? So no, somebody never answered that question that I asked. Is your problem with immigrants, or is it just Black immigrants? Because why aren't you upset about the white South Africans that's brought in to take up resources? Now they done trained us to be upset about the whole Venezuelan thing, right? I saw people complain about the Venezuelan thing, right? Why is nobody upset about the white South Africa? Okay, what you say? I didn't see it. What am I off task about? Talk to me. Because I think that we got to get to where the anger coming from. Because I'm only seeing the anger directed at the skin color that look like ours. I'm seeing that when Tyreek Nasheed go live, he don't hold no punches when it's quote unquote black immigrants. But I see he's very gingerly. He's like a suspected white supremacist. You know it. Either it's a dog or it ain't. Okay, no problem with black people. I just think we shouldn't mix it up. I really wish we could talk because I can't like. Oh, you need to be saved by the blood of Jesus. Now I'm definitely straight on that. Okay, respectfully, you can have all the blood you want. Okay, I'm definitely straight on that because that thing right there really not gonna help you liberate yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Now, in my position, everybody got the right to praise or worship whatever they want. You want to go out there and praise that magical rock? That is your prerogative. But Christianity has done nothing but hurt the mind and the progress. That's something that has hurt the progress of black people, especially black Americans. Because, like I was saying earlier in the live, the reason that we talk or we don't talk with no type of pushback with white people past a certain point is because they colonized the image of Jesus and gave you Kenny G, right? So you don't have no problem with that. So that's why when a white boy can chop up a sister like Sade Robinson or several other black women that have been chopped up, or the white chick that killed the raccoon Talbot Rankin, we don't really see nothing. That's why no real fuss is really being made about the Epstein files outside of just asking to be released. Because we've been conditioned, in my opinion, to accept white degeneracy as just normal. Well, hey, that's just how we are. But you blacks, what would I be saved from? You say I'm not saved. What would that imply that I'm being saved from? I gotta go back and read the comments. You said black immigrants are the most vocal. I have a problem with anyone that judges people based off of race. You might have a problem with me then. You are crazy. Thank you very much. Yeah. MAGA is kicking ass. See? It's always going to be a red hatter in here. Jesus can and does take away you victim mentality. No, Jesus can't. No, Jesus cannot. Jesus can't even stop a little girl from being harmed. Jesus can't stop oppression. So, like I say, I'm respectful to whatever you believe. That's your right. But you keep waiting on the whole Jesus thing, and he ain't coming. Jesus being removed from the black community is what. No, Jesus. No, you actually got it in reverse. Jesus being brought into the black community is what hurt. Hey, rise and shine. I ain't saved. I sure am not saved. How so? How so you fit for a gay dude in a crowded club? I'm not gonna read this fuckery. And see, look, that's all. See, and we have to talk about the program mentality of white people. And they call you victims because what did I say earlier in my life? That America is narcissism. And one thing that's in the narcissistic mindset is projecting. It's projecting. So they love to call you victims when they're the ultimate victim. They're the ultimate crybabies. That jobs aren't enough. Then these are what did Kid Rock come out with his crystal meth smoking self? What did Kid Rock allegedly? What did Kid Rock come out and say because he ain't been relevant in so long? He came out and said Jay-Z is a DEI hire because in his white crusty mind he feels like he's entitled for that. So when they walking around talking about the whole great replacement theory, and their fear of being replaced and removed, it's a whole victim cry. But they'll tell you, they'll come in your comments and call you a victim when that's all they do. When you watch Karen compilations, that's all Karens do is play victim. Is this dude spreading racism? Are you spreading the dog butt cheeks? That's the question. I believe you spreading the dog butt cheeks. Is this dude spreading racism? I mean, that's generally how my lives go, though, unless I have a specific subject. Like if I'm talking about 100 years of lynching, I'm going to stay on that because everything is all over the place because that's what it is. We are culturally scrambled. We are mentally scrambled. I'm not MAGA or a Democrat. I wouldn't care. Yeah, I do. It's just ridiculousness. I'm just reading these comments, catching up on these comments. Somebody said, going wild. Stop mocking Jesus. I ain't never mocked Jesus. I just said Jesus is inactive right now. We're gonna say Jesus doing his weekend at Bernie's thing. Okay, I'm almost caught up. Did I grow up with Jesus being a part of my life? I did. But once I really learned and studied and I understood Jesus was ineffective, he had to leave my life. Okay, so Jake Yeet, it is. He says Jesus can change any heart anytime, but he gives us free will. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to pray. Get a prayer circle going and pray that Jesus would change Donald Trump, Russ Vought, Stephen Miller, if he got a heart. And if those guys' hearts become changed, I might switch my tune. Because see, you tell me Jesus can do anything, right? Now John said I'm worried about them, and he over here in my life. This is what I be talking about. This is the Karen behavior. John say, yes, you are worried about us. That's all he's talking about is other people. Now, he say I'm worried about them, and he over here in my life. See, this is what Karens do. See, they prove it because it's in their psyche. They can't help it. John can't help it. He probably grew up seeing incest. He probably grew up hearing the worst stuff at the dinner table. So he runs around and they say, and he need his meds, right? But that's the Karen thing. They come in your space and tell you bothering them. All right, I'm almost caught up. Jay-Z is in Jay-Z is in the files. Bad ones too. Care nothing about Jay-Z. Jay-Z ain't never cared about me, so. Kid Rock would be nowhere without black culture. That is a fact. Right? That is a fact because when I did this on a video and I talked about, and I said, I wonder how Reverend Ron feels. Now let's go back and talk about like how when Reverend Ron had his show and Kid Rock would be on there. Kid Rock was on there episode or two. Might have been just one, might have been two, right? And I think he taught Russie or Diggy, one of them, how to play the guitar. This is why we need our lens on, and we need to understand, right? So, and I can remember Rev Ron even saying he gave Kid Rock communion. How's that? Said he gave Kid Rock communion in the back of a limo, and Kid Rock told him he did a lot of things in the back of a limo, but he ain't never took communion, right? So why am I even saying that? What that even got to do with what I'm talking about? That they will pretend to be your friend, to like you, and they will hate everything. They can't stand you. He can be on stage with Jay-Z. He can do a song with R. Kelly and Ludacris. He can suck off of black culture, but he can't stand it. And once they played the Trump card, once America played the whole Trump card, his true motive came out. Who he really was came out. Right? Right, let me move. Oh, y'all got the comments coming in. I don't want a color. I don't want a color person. Well, y'all can say some of the most craziest stuff. I told you, John ought to be a case study. John say, you gotta be the nastiest person I've ever listened to. You blame other people for your problems. I ain't saying nothing about my problems. And that number one, they can't hear either. They hear what they want to hear. They're like the ultimate bipolar and schizo because they hear the voices and conversations that they want to hear in their head. All right. He says, blame other people for your problems. Textbook white boy. Textbook white boy, white girl. That's the opposite of what a man does. Stop acting like a victim. That's all they got. That's all they know to say. You know how many times I hear this in my life? That's all they know how to say. Right? He said, I'm the nastiest person he listened to, but he can listen to Donald Trump. Because ultimately, like I said, Trump sounds smart to dumb people. And I guarantee you Trump sounds smart to old Johnny boy. Right? But we're going to keep moving. My name is John Adams. I wouldn't care if your name is John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith. Yeah, thank you. There you go again, John. Minding minding black people. Mind your own because yours is really needed about how you think. Oh, look, I told you that's all they know how to say. Oh, look, another professional victim. And that's all Trump do is cry. Somebody's always doing something to him. I told you that's all they know how to say. We're gonna count how many times they come in here and say that damn V word. You know, with the fines and whatnot. Kamala Joe shaking my head. God gave us free will. All right, no, I didn't block you. I'm not gonna block nobody until you just become unbearable. Somebody say, me personally, I don't like Eminem. My preference is not because he's white, only because his music sucks to me. Eminem. That's a funny comment. Um, I think Eminem is overrated, right? I think we could say he's lyrical for what it is. But again, it's the whole thing of how we see white people, right? Because notice everybody will beef with everybody. I was just talking about how 50 Cent beef with everybody. But only because, they see like this great white hype, right? That they feel like he's nobody can deal with him. He's a legend in black people's mind for the most part. And it always amazes me when they pick him as the greatest rapper. And when you listening to in your neighborhoods, nobody has ever. I have never got in the car and somebody said, "Turn on that Eminem," right? So he's lyrical, but because he's white and the ability to be lyrical, he automatically gets catapulted to the top, right? But that's a funny comment. I'm just wrapping them up because I'm gonna have to get up out of here in a minute. Oh, look, somebody named Epstein Islander telling me about playing victim. There go. That is number 3. Eminem's definitely. Eminem's definitely trash. He's super overrated. I was telling the other. You can relate to. I can't relate, and that's always been really like the thing of hip hop. That's why Tupac for me is always gonna be like that guy because he was relatable. I can't relate to um Eminem's struggle talking about white genocide and putting his wife in. I mean his baby mama in the trunk and the things he. That's not our mindset. That's white school mindset. So he was always like this white misfit, and he just found his way into the black community, and he studied and learned the style and learned the cadence, and he okay with it. But I can name 10 people that I'd rather 10 at the least that I would rather listen to than Eminem. Go look up. I'm gonna write that down. You told me to go look up something. And that's one thing I'll do. I'll take notes in here, and I'm about to wrap it up. Somebody said go look up. It better be some good rap. Or I'm gonna find you and tell you you turn me to some trash. All right. These comments are coming in. I'm not over there no more. Now I wouldn't block you. You my people. You say you think I blocked you on TikTok. You sent me a video. Oh, send it to me. I gotta find you on. Are you on any other one? Because I got up off of TikTok. But I gotta find you on another app if you still in here, because you always been like a solid supporter and just a real one for me. Okay, I think okay. Now I'm finally at the end of my comments. Tupac was a gay actor. Lord have mercy. That would be the last comment, wouldn't it? So, and where you get that from? How? Where is your proof that Tupac was a gay actor? Oh man, I'm really about to get up out of here, but this was a productive conversation, and that's just what I mean. I want us to understand that sure we got differences. That's like having differences with your cousin, but if it's avoidable, you ain't got to go to war. Why do I think he sacked his pants and wore his do rag backwards? Number one, he never wore a do rag. Okay, okay. So you said he that, but your man Eminem's got a song talking about smashing Dr. Dre, about how him and Dr. Dre was smashing, and I think it's on the "My Dad Gone Crazy" song. Like, and I think he was in a movie where he was saying he's been playing gay people. He's flat out telling you. So you gonna have to give me a little something more concrete than him wearing his do rag backwards, and he never wore. Do you know how stupid that would look wearing a do rag backwards? And because he sagged his pants. And you see, you see what I'm saying? I told you, Epstein Islander is an adjutant. He's an adjutant poop stain. So they gotta try to say the most degenerate, inbred things because he's like a child that's not getting no attention. And so we know that they've always been degenerates, and their women have been the most whorish out of all of them. See, their women was always wanted because they was the easiest, not because they're the most desirable, but because black women had boundaries, not white girls. White girls don't have no boundaries, and you could do anything you want to do to them because they're whores like their mother, right? But they come in and they say all this old crazy stuff. Yeah, y'all do get so mad when we tell y'all the truth, but I don't know why y'all. I know why y'all like that because y'all hate the truth, right? But see, he don't understand. His name is Epstein Islander, and he think he's sane. A place where they destroyed little children, and he's telling me about the truth. That's what I said. Never engage with these cave dwelling knuckle draggers past a certain point, because it's like talking to this pen right here. Watch, pen. Stop behaving like that. You see how you're not? It looks crazy, right? That's how you look trying to explain something to a white degenerate, because that's all they have in them. Focus on them. But this whole FBA, this whole delineation argument is trash. I'm gonna close out with that. I'm gonna get back on topic. It's trash. It's trash because it's designed. Notice you don't hear white folks complaining about and they are not the example, but I'm just giving a teachable example. Notice you don't hear them talking about white South Africans coming here. Notice you wouldn't hear them complain about no other Like I said, they'll complain about the whole Venezuela thing, right? They came here legally. Yeah, but they was over in South Africa illegal. He brought them here. Hell, you talking about? Like, come on, man. Again, Penn, don't do that. Whenever you say something stupid, you represent this Penn, Epstein Island. You represent this pen because you have the brain capacity of this pen. And that's really an insult to this pen because this pen is beneficial. You're not even beneficial. Like your parents should have probably never even had you. And you know that. You know your bloodline is shit. You know your women are ugly and age like rotten fruit. You know you're a genetic misfit. You know all of these things about yourself. You say you want to hear truth, you're a genetic misfit. You don't have rhythm. The sun cooks you. Everything, including nature, despises you. So that's why you upset. I'm talking to you too, USS Liberty. What do I think about James Brown? What you think about Woody Allen? What you think about Elvis Presley? That dead piece of shit that died on the toilet. What do you think about him? Hmm? What you think about them? What you think about rhythmless white boys? What you think about Instinct? Let me ask you some questions. What do you think about the Backstreet Boys? Hmm? What you think about that? Y'all want to ask questions? But again, this pen. This is what I think about when degenerate white folks get in my life. This pen. This pen is more useful than y'all. You're the most insecure. You gotta have 100-mile head start in a race, and you still bitch and complain if somebody catch up to 50 feet to you. No, you don't talk to me about James Brown. You talk to me about Elvis Presley. James Brown is my business. You talk about Elvis Presley. What do you think about Buddy Holly? Hmm? What you think about that? What you think about Jerry Lee Lewis? Okay, Buddy Holly was awesome. Okay, dead piece of shit, but he was awesome. James Brown could dance. Elvis Presley couldn't. Go wash your ass. You know what I'm saying? Go stop humping the dog. See, we could do this, but I got things to do. I gave my message to my people. I ain't studying you knuckle dwellers. You know you cave dweller knuckle draggers. I gave my message to my people. But y'all are so insecure that you have to notice we never come to your spaces talking to y'all because you degenerate. You know it. You can be delusional all you want. Now go deal with your ugly women and your mentally ill children. Peace. Not to y'all, but to my people.